Hello, Mayor.
Yes. Well, good evening. Good evening. How are you doing this evening? I want to thank you for joining me tonight. I'm hosting this tele-town hall meeting to speak directly with you, the residents of the city of Cleveland, before I talk to anyone else. Now, for the last 31 years, for over 31 years, from being a city councilman in Ward 5 to being the council president and now mayor, you, the people of the city of Cleveland, have worked alongside me for change and to create a better quality of life for all of our citizens. Together, we have accomplished many, many things, but there's so much more work to be done. The work and the challenges for public servants never ends. In that sense, there's always work to be done. You know, public service is an honorable profession, but it's not made for everyone. But those who take up the work and the challenges have the greatest opportunity to change the lives of individuals, families, and communities. Now, I'm honored to hold the office of mayor, but I'm here to share with you today that I've decided not to seek re-election for a fifth term. I've led the city of Cleveland as your mayor for almost 16 years. For 16 years, I have worked to stabilize this city, position this city for the future, and to ensure that all can participate in the prosperity and the quality of life that we've created. Whether it's through stabilizing the city's finances and balancing the budget in economically hard times, or whether it's enhancing city services and accountability, making capital investments in our neighborhood resource and recreation centers, in our playgrounds, our parks, our streets, all of our public buildings, and purchasing vehicles and equipment so that we could provide public service, as well as demolishing abandoned properties. We've also invested in our future through economic initiatives and an attempt to establish a sustainable economy. We've navigated through the foreclosure crisis, the Great Recession, and we're currently in a pandemic, with a focus on Cleveland being better positioned for recovery after all of these events. We've reformed the Cleveland Metropolitan School District to ensure a better educational outcome for our children through the Cleveland Plan. And we are bringing Say Yes to Cleveland so that our children will have the opportunity for higher learning, as well as helping to build our hospitality, tourism, and film industry, and attracting national and international events to the city of Cleveland. Investing in people and investing in our neighborhoods based on their strength and based on their needs. Now, all of these things and more are necessary, and they are essential for positioning Cleveland to have the opportunity for a great future. But it is not the definition of a great city. A great city is defined by what we do for the least of us, not in terms of welfare and charity, but by whether or not we all can participate in that prosperity and that quality of life that that city produces. Now, during my time in public office, people have often asked me, you know, Frank, what keeps you up at night? And I always tell them now, for sure, the business of politics really doesn't keep me up at night. Now, the decisions are difficult, but and you have to make them, but that's just part of the job. But there are things, however, that haunt me. Things that are implanted in my brain. Things that no matter how much I have accomplished, And no matter how much work I put in or how this system measures success, as the lyric of the song Sounds of Silence says, those visions still remain. They're the visions of crack cocaine in the 80s and 90s and the effect it had on our communities, our families, and on the individuals. It's the vision of the current opiate epidemic. The vision of a young lady who sold herself for just another hit. The child who was abused and neglected physically, emotionally, and psychologically, and left alone in this harsh world that really does not care, but then judges that child. It grows up doing what it has learned to do just to survive. And going to the funerals of children murdered in the drug game, in a street culture that has no mercy. And young men coming home from prison with no hope of a job, decent housing, or opportunity to raise a family. And yes, even those who do right in spite of it all, but receive little or no help as they struggle to overcome the challenges and the obstacles that have been put in their path. These visions and more, accompanied by the fact that many of the people I've interacted with, they were the children and grandchildren of people I knew and were in many cases my friends. So this has always been personal to me. And I've come to this game of politics not trying to be anything, but really to use the positions that I've gained as tools to grapple with those causes of the visions that haunt me. And it hasn't changed. It really hasn't changed. The underlying cause was, and it still remains, institutionalized inequities, disparities, and racism, coupled with a sense of hopelessness, fatalism with an acceptance of dependency, and seeing no real reason to be part of a system that produces these senses. Now, I've always attempted, to work for Cleveland's success with the understanding, however, that Cleveland's success has no value to me unless all can and do participate in that success. Now, we're not there yet as a city. So, the work is not done and the challenges still remain. Now, that too haunts me because I know that with all of my efforts and with everything I have accomplished, it has not been enough. But I'm moving on with understanding that this is a relay race, not a sprint. The race is not over, and we are not yet a great city. Your job, this is your job, will be to ensure that the runner in the next leg of this race runs hard and he runs true. Although I'm not seeking a fifth term, I am, and I will be working until my term is up. Between now and the end of this term, my term, I will talk to you about those things that we need to stay focused on. It's my pleasure to serve you as mayor, and I'm honored that you chose me to be your mayor. Now, you rode with me through the good times and the bad. And even when you was mad at me and you thought I was crazy. But you know what? I appreciate that. And I appreciate you, and I thank you.